Check one, two. Okay. Just gotta get my stuff together here. I don't know what all is. Check one, two. Okay. Yeah. There we go. I'm trying to like control it from the different surfaces. It's like, let's see. I don't know. Trying to make sure that. Oh wow. Yeah. That's loud. That's hot. Let's turn that down a little bit. Just trying to make sure that my like. Oh no. There we go. We got like a. Yeah, so what's up, guys? This is Craig from Bookmobile Records. Good Not Safe, all of that. So I don't know what I'm doing right now, honestly. I'm trying to turn this down is what I'm doing. I don't know. I just I figured I don't know, like so I do have to like address some stuff before I do anything else, and you know it's interesting because like I don't like so right so like Baby came out a couple days ago, and obviously like trying to like think about that in the midst of everything that's been going on is kind of stupid. So you know, like I've been like floating around in the like I'm just listening to stuff and trying to like I don't know, I've been trying to like decompress over the last couple of days because like it's been a lot happening, and like I don't know. Yeah. Look, I don't know what to I don't have like I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of what's up, Harry? I don't have a whole lot of insight right now. You know what I mean? Like normally I'm more of a like kind of like let things unfold kind of person, you know, when it comes to stuff generally, but like there are certain things that you can't like stand idly by and like watch happen. And that doesn't necessarily mean like cuz like right now like okay, all right. I don't even know what the hell I'm trying to say. Oh god. Okay, like so first of all, I should have come up with like a plan. I think maybe. I don't know. I like I don't think having a plan would help any at all like for me right now like cuz I'm just so like I'm just so like kind of out of sorts with everything that's been going on right now that like you know like a couple of my friends got like tear gassed and attacked for walking by Virginia Beach Police Department and the Richmond Police Department, and you know they've imposed a curfew, so like you know I'm in the house, which is fine because I was like in the house anyway, but like still I think you're more like I don't know, I think you feel more anxious when you can't leave than when you don't want to, like, cause like, like on a normal day I don't want to leave the house most of the time, and then the whole pandemic thing started, and I've been like kind of anti leaving the house anyway. And I have an underlying condition. My parents have underlying conditions, so like the whole virus situation is still like weighing really heavy on me, which is why like I'm trying to limit the outside activities when it comes to actively protesting. But like I can't not do anything, you know what I mean? Like so listen, hey sissy, I look, I'm generally much more articulate than this. I don't, like it takes a lot to like get me to shut up. So um I was gonna talk a little bit more about like something cohesive. Like I wish that I had something that I could be like, hey, it's gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Like, but nah, it ain't though. It's not though. It's not, because it ain't okay, and it's not okay, and it's not gonna be okay. Um, Look, I don't have the patience, or the like. I have a lot of patience because I've been praying for it, and God's been like testing me. And you say you should be careful what you pray for, because you'll definitely get it like in a way that you don't necessarily expect. And so like, praying for patience, like you get like tested on all sides. And I've always found that kind of like interesting or weird, like when it comes to like the way that I think God moves. It's just so, it's funny because like he does, like God definitely has a sense of humor, because whenever I whenever I pray for understanding or patience or something like that, it's always like it's always a test. You know what I mean? Um, I don't I don't have like anything. I'm gonna pause this because like I want to play them. I want to play music, but I need to like ramble for like 10 minutes before I start playing stuff. What I want to do is play a bunch of like black artists, just like all different genres. I'm gonna, like I live in the punk and metal realm, so that's gonna be like a big, influence. But I'm gonna try to play a lot of different stuff so that like people don't, get any, so that people don't like freak out or whatever. I'm gonna play some of the stuff from Bayview, which is my record. I'm gonna play some of the bands that I'm, really enjoying right now. That kind of stuff. And I'm also gonna like try to figure out where this hiss is coming from in the midst. There we go. There we go. Okay, so look, y'all, I ain't got nothing like positive to say right now. Um, I just want to say that if you're having difficulty with the way that people are protesting right now, like let me explain two things. First of all, a lot of the damage that is happening is being orchestrated by people who want these protests to fail and want to see the people in them harmed. It is not, let me repeat that, it is not the people who are protesting peacefully Um, so trying to put put these people on the same level as whatever else is happening is one, defeating the purpose, because like we not even like ignore, like if you didn't want this to happen, then you should have let Colin Kaepernick kneel. Like, just straight up and down. Like, if you didn't want people in the streets like this, then you should have let him kneel without like ruining the man's career. All right, that's one. Two, if a business owner like if a local business is damaged here, this is not what we're about. It's not what's going on. It's not what's trying to happen. Understand that is not the intention. All right. And that if you had listened, none of this would be happening right now anyway. So I just want to shout out to business owners who are understanding that what is happening right now is one, a long time fucking coming, and two, not the fault of the people who are protesting, and three, I want to say that like any business who is willing to like accept what is happening and rebuild, because they care about the people who are involved in this situation, will have my full support when all this is over. And the businesses who choose to use this opportunity to cash grab or to run, publicity stunts or whatever, like any counter revolutionary action will not, it's not happening. We're not participating in it. Not trying to be involved in any of that, right? Like after this is over. So just like understand that everything that is currently happening was preventable. That people matter more than property. That businesses can rebuild. I saw somebody post earlier that like the people whose businesses have been devastated in this, and that is a tragedy. Let me put that out there. It's not good, and it's not what we're about. But I saw someone posting to say like that the people whose businesses have been affected by this will never recover. George Floyd will never recover. Okay, he's dead. Breonna Taylor will never recover. Okay, she's dead. Right? Like, as long as they're still alive, they can recover. These people cannot recover. They are dead. they're dead. There is no coming back from that. If you like believe in reincarnation, I apologize. That is like my intention is not to alienate anyone in this, but like the way that like even if you do, like it's not the same life. You know what I'm saying? Like regardless, that's not even the point. I'm rambling. Like they're dead is the point. So like if a business owner is still alive, they can rebuild, right? And I'm not condoning the looting aspect of it. Like that's not the point. Like the point is in the cases where we have like people screaming in the streets, like just walking from point A to point B, yelling to get their point out there, right? Like, this is what we're doing on a massive scale. The only reason that any violence has happened at the majority of these protests is because the police are armed and militarized in a way that is like threatening to people who are not armed and nonviolent, right? So if you as an individual are not armed, and you're in a group of people and you're walking down the street, right? And when somebody comes up to you with a weapon, like, you're going to start to fear for your life. You know what I mean? And when people are backed into corners, they do crazy things. And, you know, welcome to existence as a person of color in America. Like, you're backed into a corner constantly. So here's the thing that I just like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say. Look, I don't think that the way that we're going about things right now is the best path, but it's the only available option to people who are mad as hell and not gonna take it anymore, right? Like, so there's no, like, we did the dialogue, we did the discussion, we did the thing, y'all weren't there. Right? Like, so for me, it's like I'm not actively going to participate in anything until we have like organization, leadership, and a commitment to nonviolence. Like, that's just like, but what I will be doing is, one, using every platform available to me to let people know that what you see as a what you see as a temporary thing is a permanent reality for people in America who do not look like you. So understand this. If you are uncomfortable right now, welcome to being black in America. You've arrived. You did it. There's a like if your concern is not with human life and it's with buildings and businesses, then I think you have the wrong you've got the wrong perspective, and you've got the wrong end of what's being said. If you feel like you are upset by the things that people are saying, understand that far worse things have been said about people of color in this country for since we got here, and just like recognize that this moment is not about you specific, like as an individual. Like, it's not about you, right? Like, so like it doesn't, no one is attacking you as an individual, as a person. It's not about you. It is about systems that have been set into motion for hundreds of years, things that were, let me put this in the zeitgeist, systems that were set in place to divide the working class from each other, so that we don't recognize who our actual the actual problems, the cause of our actual problems, right? It's not each other. So it doesn't exist, but we give it power so it does exist. It's like money, right? like like it's not a DNA thing. It's not a real thing. But because it is given power, it is real. So understand that situation the situation that we find ourselves in right now is not like it's not new, because the way that people have been doing life in this situation has proven, to me at least, that that there could have been this whole time like things being done to better the lives of poor and working people in this country, specifically people of color, specifically black people. Because that's the focus right now, right? Like once, like the situation with George Floyd is a tragedy, and it's the tip. Like it's the straw that broke the camel's back. It's not the whole of the problem. And the idea that the life of a human being is worth less than a building is the reason why people who would otherwise be peaceful are not. And I don't know, man. Like, look, there's a lot. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm saying or what I'm trying to say. Like, because honestly, I'm not in a place where I can like coherently string an argument together. Like, there's there's a moment, I think, where we have to realize that every action that we take has consequences, and so and also the lack of action has consequences as well. Let me say that again, because my words got all tongue tied. Every action has consequences. Every inaction also has consequences. So, like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, did you think that it was just gonna keep like we was just gonna be cool with black people being murdered? Like it was just gonna be all right? Like like we was just gonna like let it keep letting it slide and keep letting it slide? Like did you honestly, like I want to I want to understand the thought process behind it. Like did you think that like it was just going to keep happening and nothing was going to be done, right? Like that no one was going to say anything or do anything radical, because like that doesn't make sense. Like especially when you take into account the fact that people have been like quietly asking politely since like the 1940s. Right? Like this isn't even like the worst thing that could be happening. You know what I mean? Like there are far worse things that could be happening right now. Um, and it's a lot of it is down to the fact that people don't want revenge. We just want justice. And I don't know, like so what, this wasn't like the intent for this platform, like for me. Like I didn't want to like make this like of course, like everything I do, every book that I collect for the library, every magazine that I put out, every album, every person that I work with, every podcast that I've done has in some way been about including as many people as possible in a conversation, and making space for people who don't feel like they have a space, right? Like that's what I'm about as an individual, as a human being, right? Like that's what I care about. Um, the people that I care about, um, from every race and gender and sexuality and orientation, and like it's not, it doesn't, like these things aren't, um like it's not something that I just say, right? Like I include people in everything that I work on, who fall on, like who fall into every possible category. Like I try, really I do, to be as inclusive as I can be, and I'm gonna continue that. um I'm gonna continue in that, and I want it to not, like I want these things to like be something other than this, which is like uncohesive, like rambling about stuff that's going on, like I don't want that. But what I do feel like I need to do before anything else is kind of like in my inclusion, like make a space for people of color, generally black people specifically, to have like a space where like people are like actually paying attention to what they're saying, because it apparently, like y'all been missing it for a minute. And because like the funniest thing to me, it's not funny, that's not the right word. The most interesting thing to me about this whole situation is how people are shocked, right? Like they're surprised, you know. It's weird to me, it's funny to me that people are like legitimately surprised, um about this whole situation. And I mean, it's kind of like what, like you're surprised that, like, the only thing that's surprising is how long it took. You know what I mean? um so let me make this like as plain as I can. I don't like the last thing that I want to see is the destruction of local infrastructure. Y'all know me. Like anybody that knows anything about the way that I operate is how it knows how much I care about local businesses. Um, but here's the thing. Why like what I'm starting to think about in this is like why do certain businesses like deserve your support, and what businesses deserve your support, um and like how can I more responsibly like participate in what's going on, um like trying to rebuild and reopen like in a responsible way, right? While simultaneously not like missing out on my principles, like in a like being able to support my friends in what they do, but then like not seeing that reciprocal support when our community is in need, right? Like so like I don't know, like I guess what I'm saying is like there's a lot of like my mentality about a lot of things hasn't changed because it's always been this way, but it's like it's shifted a little bit, um to now like putting an emphasis on supporting businesses that support you, which means like to me supporting businesses that support people of color and supporting businesses who are not just in not just in it for like a hashtag or like a momentary like boost, or so that they don't so that they don't have to feel the brunt of the anger that's coming, right? Like, you know what I mean? I'm very Wesleyan in my theology. Like all I want is to flee from the wrath to come, right? Like, but here's the thing. Um when you like I'm trying to figure out like the best way that I can explain it. So when I was a kid, right, I used to get bullied a lot. Um uh Specifically by like a certain group of individuals, um like all the time, right? And it happened every day. And I'm being the person that I am like chill, like I'm most likely to be okay with whatever goes on, so like I let it go. And then it happened the next day and I let it go. And it happened the next day and I let it go. And then it happened the next day and I let it go. And this went on for a year like that. You know what I mean? Like it just like every single day. Um and the motivation I can't speak on. Like I don't know what it was about, you know what I'm saying? Like it was where I learned like self-deprecating humor, right? Like cuz if they were picking on me about something and I was like, joking about it first, then it took away that power, right? Um so like it continued to happen pretty much every day for like a year. And then one day, after passively taking it over and over and over again, ridicule and physical violence and stuff like that, eventually I just like snapped, right? Like and we have been taking trainings about like like how people don't just snap. Like it's a long process to get to that point, right? It's not something that just randomly happens. So think of it in that way, right? Like this person's been picking on you every day for a year, and you just been taking it and taking it and taking it. And you'll tell somebody, and they'll stop for a day, and then they'll go right back to it, and you'll tell them again, and they'll stop for a little bit, and then they go right back to it. And you appeal to the gym teacher because this was happening in gym class. So you appeal to the gym teacher, and the gym teacher's like, hey, cut that out. And then you appeal to your counselor, and the counselor talks to him, and then it still keeps going. It gets worse because now you told on them, right? Now you told on them. Now they're upset because you have violated the agreement that they put in place, right? Like that you wasn't gonna say nothing because you haven't before, right? So they stop for a minute, and then when they sure that nobody else is looking, they go right back to it. And then you try to talk to somebody that works in the office, right? Like, because you go in there every once in a while, they know you, and then they talk to the kids, and they stop for a little bit, and then they go back at it, right? Like eventually you gonna punch that kid in the face, right? like eventually you run out of cheeks to turn, and you swell up, and you punch him, and you might get beat down for a minute. But the catharsis of like finally doing something after asking them to stop and asking other people to intervene, it's not like you feel that you feel like you're not heard, and you feel like no one will help you. And eventually, no matter how peaceful of a person you are, eventually you lash out, right? Like that's what's going on. That's what's happening. There's been centuries, plural, of people pushing your buttons. It's called microaggressions, right? Like little things that happen every day. Somebody clutching their purse when they see you coming. Someone ignoring you and going directly to a white person when you're the one who ends up having to help them, right? Somebody calling you outside of your name. Someone, disrespecting you, maybe unknowingly, because of the people that you love. Somebody who doesn't acknowledge your humanity, right? Like, and then that's the quiet stuff, and then there's the overt stuff that happens, like this, like someone getting murdered, and there being like no justice for them. And then, someone saying, well, you should stop killing each other. It's like, yeah, like, why aren't you upset about that? And it's like, we are. We marched for that too. And it's like, there's all of these like little things that add up. And then there's like the overt stuff, like somebody riding around town with a Confederate flag on the back of their car, even though they lost the Civil War, right? Like somebody who like just looks you in the eye and straight up calls you a nigger, like that, like, someone who insults brown people by calling them slurs that I will not repeat because I am not in that community. Someone who attacks your friends, your family in the LGBTQ community because their twisted understanding of the Bible tells them to. And these things build up and build up and build up because it's not just like my experience, it's the collective experience of everyone who's out there. So like things that don't even like I don't even get to like I don't even see because of my privilege as a straight male, right? Like the horrible things that happen to black women in the LGBTQ community, black men in the LGBT community, black trans women, black trans men, like the idea that it's one thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not one thing. It's the collective cry of a community who's been on the receiving end of an ass whooping for the better part of 500 years. And like I said, I still have a personal conviction that, like, in order to change anything about what's going on, we got to change hearts before we change laws, right? Like, because like changing the law apparently doesn't work. Because the people who are set to enforce those laws are breaking them, and there's no consequences. And I want to hear like all of these not all arguments are reductive, right? It doesn't like I hate that stupid post that's like not all blacks are criminals. Like, yeah, no shit. Like, we know that. Right? Like, not all cops are bad. Yeah, we know. I know that. We're not angry at them. We're not mad at them. Like, we're not upset at them. We're upset at the ones who are, and we're upset at the people who are using those arguments to devalue black pain. We're upset at not being seen as people created in the image of God. And we're upset at not being seen in general. Like we're like upset at not being heard. And we're upset at people valuing property over our lives, and we're upset at every time someone is murdered, something's got to come out about whatever crime they may have committed in the past. Like, who cares? It's a human being. They made a mistake. So does everybody else. And understanding that, makes me as a Christian want to move towards forgiveness. But like, there can be no forgiveness without repentance. And like, that's a like to repent isn't to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry you feel like that. I'm sorry this is happening. I'm sorry. Like it's not a like the moment for I'm sorry passed like 400 odd years ago. All right, it's not about being sorry. It's not about how you feel. Um, you know, and like it's not even really about you at all. You don't have to tell us that your life also matters. Like, we know that. All right, we know that. Believe me, we've been told that your life matters more than ours for our entire existence on this planet. Not just in America, but black people the world over, indigenous people the world over, right? Any country that's been affected by European colonialism, like, people of color know that your life matters. That's why it's not in danger. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason that your house is not on fire, right? Like, there's a reason that something like this hasn't happened before now, right? We understand that implicitly. It doesn't need to be stated. And the fact that I have to say that my life matters, like, it doesn't have to matter to you. It matters to God. But like, until it matters to you, like, that's what that post was about. Like, that for me, that like started the whole thing. Like, when I heard about the situation, like, it wasn't for me to be like, oh, like, it wasn't for anybody to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like when I said it could have been me, I meant, like, look at what happened to that man and then imagine my face there. And if you care about me at all, look at what happened to that man and then put my face on his body. Look at what happened to Breonna Taylor and then put my face on her body. Because until it happens to you, like, it's the difference between empathy and sympathy, right? Like sympathy is, oh, I'm sorry that this is happening. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Empathy is like a soul hurt. It's feeling the pain of other people, right? So it's not like, it doesn't have they people use them interchangeably, but they're not the same thing, right? Like you can be sympathetic without being empathetic, and we don't need sympathy right now. Like it's not what we need. We don't need, like, if one more person tells me they're sorry, I don't, it's not like it ain't about me as an individual. Okay? Like it's not about one person. It's about like deeply feeling that human beings inherently have value, and that for a large section of the population in this country, we don't feel like we have value. So we have to assert it. Because like half of it is telling y'all and half of it is telling ourselves. You know what I mean? Like a good chunk of it is telling ourselves that we matter. Because no one else seems to think so. You know what I mean? Like, no, yeah, and you're right, it is. But that doesn't stop it from hurting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that it's a planned thing, and that it's a minimization thing. But like, you know, like I don't know. Like you want, like I always quote James Baldwin like all the time, constantly, because his writing is so profound. But like one of my favorite things that I've ever like read of his is like, I love America more than any country in the world, and for that exact reason I demand the right to criticize her. Because I see what it could be, right? Like it's all laid out there in the Declaration of Independence and in the Constitution, and like all of these like high and lofty ideas that were never meant for us. There, if you've been at all conscious in the last 50 years, then you already know what you're supposed to be doing. So I shouldn't have to say it. I shouldn't have to keep saying it. If I can just like leave like this section of the whole video with one thing, I just want it to be that like I'm trying to figure out how to say this so that it makes sense. One, understand that the only reason that any of this is happening is because you didn't listen. When I say you, I'm not talking about you specifically as an individual, but like generally, and then like specifically the like political leadership didn't listen. When like you didn't listen to Martin Luther King when he was alive, so stop quoting him. um like, you know what I mean, like you didn't like, and then quote him properly, right? Like, yes, that wasn't directed at you, Miss Norma. I did not see that. I apologize. um uh like when when Dr. King was alive, he was considered the most dangerous man in America. And they murdered him and then sanitized his legacy to the point where what we learn about him in schools is like 1/3 of his actual contribution. Um, and he wouldn't be nearly as effective alone, right? As if that, like, that part of the movement was effective, but it was only as effective as it was because it allowed people to see that it allowed people to like hold a mirror up to their own actions, because nonviolent protest is often met with violence. And so you see in those images of like fire hoses being turned on people and dogs being sicked on people, or in our modern context, tear gas being fired at innocent like people who are standing or kneeling in a place, not engaging in any illegal activity. It holds a mirror up to the actions of the individuals with power against the people who don't have it. Right. So, like, the reason that King's protests were as effective as they were is because he effectively, like, let people do whatever they wanted to them so that they could see the monstrosity in their actions. And then that was juxtaposed with the supposed violence of the Nation of Islam, right? Like, so the Nation of Islam was not a inherently violent group. They just wasn't playing that game, right? Like, they came to things strapped instead of peacefully. Like, well, no, let me rephrase that. They came peacefully. They did not put up with what was happening with Dr. King. You know what I mean? Like, there are no images of dogs being sicked on Nation of Islam, members, right? Because they would have been shot. Like, so those two approaches are equally necessary to enact any real change. And that hurts my heart as someone who is an advocate for peace. But it is necessary, because without the violence, you won't listen. Because we've been saying stuff peacefully for years. So that's not to say that it's a good thing, but it is necessary. And I will be doing my part on both fronts to support local businesses who support us in this, and to prevent, like, as to the best of my ability, like, people from thinking that property is more important than people. But like also understanding that, like, stuff is gonna happen, and it's mostly gonna happen because people who are actively against any kind of social change are going to force it to happen, right? Like they're going to go around and like spray paint walls and break windows when the protests are already over. They're gonna plant bricks for people to throw. You know, they're gonna antagonize people who are peacefully marching, in an effort to make the people who are protesting into the bad guy, right? When in your heart of hearts you already know what the problem is, and you may, if you don't know, you know, like if you feel like you want to help but you're concerned about the coronavirus, I totally understand that, and I am as well. So, you know, if you are going to go out and protest, like my suggestion would be make sure you're masked up, for the protection of your identity, as well as for the protection of your health. Be aware that tear gas does cause coughing and eye watering and these kinds of things, which will further the spread of the virus if you do have it. So please, if you feel like you might be sick, if you feel like if you've been like like if you've been around people that have had it, like if you work in the nursing field or something like that, if you're, you know, if you feel like you may be asymptomatic, if you feel like there's anything wrong with you, stay at home, please. If you are participating, do not engage with people who are trying to make you the villain. If you see someone vandalizing a building or you know, breaking a window or something like that, stop them, because odds are they're not with you. If you feel that angry and you feel like that's something that you need to do, like invest in a punching bag for a little bit, because like some of that is cathartic. I would say avoid it if at all possible. But if you're hitting anybody, hit a corporation, not a local business. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think that any of it is like I don't think you should be. I don't think you should use this moment to come up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what it's about. Uh, so you know, not everybody that's out there is altruistic. So just be careful. Um, and then on the other side, if you like me, um, have an underlying condition or are taking care of elderly people who are at risk, or really anyone who's at risk, children, elderly people, my suggestion to you would be not to march, but to participate in other ways. Um, so that I have on my website, it's the homepage right now. In the coming weeks, I think I'm gonna move it to a permanent home somewhere on the page, as opposed to being like the main screen. There's a link that you can click that is a Google document full of references for books you can read, people to call, things you can do. It's all there. You don't even have to go into the site if you don't want to. It's right there on the main screen. There's more than you can do than just march. So like, don't, if you can't march or don't march, don't feel like you're not doing anything. Like, do something else, right? If you are marching, please be careful, because like I don't know, man. They out here like with tanks and riot gear for people who are marching peacefully, but people who come to state departments and federal buildings strapped like don't get any kind of response, which is bullshit. But just like understand that that's what it is and what we're dealing with, and like don't show up to an event looking for a fight, right? Like, don't let them color the narrative that way, right? um but like, double up on your masks, wear glasses, wear goggles, like work goggles if you can, like something that will prevent like tear gas from getting into your eyes. Wear running shoes, light clothing. Try not to wear a backpack if you can. If you bring some water with you. Stay hydrated because it's getting hot out here. um yeah. That's all I gotta say about that. um Anyway, that went way longer than I thought it would, and I don't think any of it made any sense. uh, but look, man, like at the end of the day, right? You gotta do what you feel like is right. I'm going to attempt to use my platforms to give voices to people of color, like I've been doing, to give voices to the LGBTQ community, like I've been doing, um, to to make indigenous people seen, and Asian people seen, Latinx people seen. Um, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing what I've been doing in the way that I've been doing it, but there will be a heavier emphasis on I mean, it's not even really any heavier than it already was. Like every issue of the magazine has featured at least two black like models, and like every black owned businesses, and every podcast episode that I've done has featured black people, people of color, and it will continue to be that. I really want to like focus on doing these like live stream concert things for like I love rock, and I want that to be a focus. So if anybody knows any like rock bands featuring people of color in the local area, hit me up because I want them on the show. Also, I want to kind of expand what I've been thinking about doing, and make room for other genres of music and other people doing other things. I don't know. I feel like they're like I have to use what I have, and what I have is a bunch of recording equipment and knowledge of how to use it, and photography skills, and like 13 years of library science. So I have to like do something along those lines. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's it. I don't know. I'm done. I hope any of this made sense, man, because I have no idea. Yeah, I'll do some music maybe tomorrow. I think I'm gonna try to do maybe some black punk, and indie rock, and emo, and that kind of stuff. And then I'll do like your standard kind of like blues, jazz, soul, R&B, hip hop stuff, right? Um, and yeah, I don't know. I hope anything I like said made sense, because I really don't think it did. But whatever. I just I just I don't know. I don't have the words yet, but I will eventually. All right. Um. Let's see. I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna like play us out here.